Namaskaram, Shankaran uncle.
Namaskaram, uncle.
Namaskaram, Namaskaram, Prasid and Sai.
So good to have you on the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Same here. Same here.
So, our second vodcast. Thank you so much for coming on. It's a pleasure for us to have you today.
Of course. Thanks for giving the opportunity. It's wonderful effort you guys are doing it for the music, and then I'm privileged to be part of the effort. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So let's jump right into our topics today. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your gurus, your early childhood, and other interests besides Carnatic music that you had when you were young.
Yeah, so I'm Shankaran. I'm Shankaran Bhattadhiripad. I'm from Kerala. It's a place called Thrissur in Kerala, and I started maybe like music, mridangam stuff in the age of 10, around 10. That's what I remember. So my father used to be a great interested person in Carnatic music, especially in Kerala. There is another form of music which is very similar to Carnatic music. It's basically sang with the dance of the Kerala. It's called Kathakali. So there is a Kathakali music, and my father used to be a very an organizer of all these Kathakali programs and stuff like that. So he is very much into music. So as always, every father, right, they would like to for their kids also to be part of the music. And
Yeah, of course.
my elder brother started learning music first, and then he started with the Kathakali music basically. So it's a basis is Carnatic music, but you start into the Kathakali. So as a child, I am very thing on whatever my brother learns, I will not learn that. I will learn something else, right? So to be the competitive spirit up, right? So that's how I started learning mridangam. So especially that's how I got into the mridangam thing, right? And then my first guru is Sri EP Narayana Pisharadi. He's not a real performer, but he's a great guru. So you can see his there are big names as is in his students list, like Guru Ayur sir, and later my other guru K Parameshwaran Nambutri. There are a lot of people who learned from Trishur Narendran sir. All of these people have started learning their basics from EP Narayana Pisharadi sir. He's one of the different thinker of of mridangam. I will touch upon that. What is that? Maybe later sometime. So I started learning from him the age of around 10, and then I learned from him maybe like 3-4 years, and then I did my few my arangetam was because my brother is a singer, learned singing. Our arangetam was together, right? I
Right.
played him.
Yeah.
That's how my arangetam was. And after that, I
Wow.
moved to learn from Charity Guru's only disciple. His name is Sri K Parameshwaran Nambudri. He is the retired All India radio artist in Thrissur. He was a staff artist in Thrissur. So I started learning from K Parameshwaran Nambudri. So he is one of the the first one from like a Nambudri community in Kerala, right? They are the Brahmins community in Kerala. He is one of the first to come out of that community and then become a professional mridangam player. He used to play with the Chembai, Baidyanath Bhagavathar, a lot of people,
Wow.
and like a lot of people, right? In Chennai and all those places. And then he settled down in Thrissur as a staff artist. So I learned from him, and that's how I started learning mridangam. And then there are a lot of experiences learning from him, so which we can go through it in the later part, right? So yeah.
Oh, it's really
Wow.
amazing to listen to all this. It's really, really nice to see such background. And to be honest, I didn't know much about you, even though we see each other quite frequently. I didn't know this. This is really nice to learn.
Right.
So you did mention you have a bunch of experiences with your gurus. So would you mind sharing one of these certain experiences?
Yeah, I think so. The best thing I have had is moving from EP Narayana Pisharadi. I was just young, learning as a kid, right? And then it's my teenage is what I moved on to see Sri Parameswaran Nambudiri sir. So we had a real Gurukula Sampradayam learning. It's not like the Gurukula Sampradayam what he would have had with his gurus, right? And then in that age, because still the age difference is there, but our Gurukula
Right.
Sampradayam was like weekends, right? We go
Mm.
and go to his house on a Friday evening and return back our home on Sunday evening. That's how our
Oh,
weekends used to.
wow. So like a
All
Gurukula Vasam almost, right?
exactly. So
Wow.
it's like
Amazing.
a hybrid Gurukula Sampradayam. You can say it's
Oh,
complete.
in more modern terms.
Right, it's
Uh,
more modern, but he was insisting us to do in that way. Like, we
mm-hmm.
used to live there, eat breakfast, eat lunch, sleep there, practice there, play there, right? And then, so there used to be like a when I started in his thing, we have similar aged three, four people, kids together at the same age. A couple of them are nowadays in professional in mridangam, so they are A grade artists in all their radio and stuff like that. So we used to have a group of kids where we used to stay there every weekend. Doesn't matter whether it is whatever it is, right? Every weekend, right? And we used to eat together, play together, practice together, play concerts together, right? And that's how my learning was. And then it's a completely different experience, even though I can relate when the great people talk about their Gurukula Sampradayam. That's our previous generation, right? But even those the current generation, I could think that relate to that because I had a that kind of an experience, even though it's just a weekends, right?
Yeah.
So it's not never be like a 1 hour class or a couple of hours of a class in a week. It's never like that. It's like 2 days continuous, right? And then
Yeah.
Right.
we used to be part of their family, like be part of the family. But whether it is family functions are there, whether is there any birthday parties are there, it's all part of the same family, right? That's how we did our learning. And another big experience what I've got from Sri K. Parameswaran Nambudiri sir is not just the Mridangam. We learn the life there, you know, because we are, as a teenage person, you go and live in somebody's house, right? It's a completely
Right.
different experience. You don't have your, freedom of your parents and stuff like that, right? So
Right.
as a
Makes sense.
human being, how that's the another difference of the Gurukula Sampradaya of learning, right? Because you are not only learning Mridangam, you are learning your life. So that's the biggest learning I've got. And my guru, he is very, he's the one who arranged like started Sangeethotsavams in Kerala. So it's
Oh,
basically
interesting.
the like Guruvayur Chembe Sangeethotsvam, one of the thing. It's basically started by him a long time back,
Wow.
in 60s, right? So that kind of a culture started in Thrissur. Actually, my place is basically from my guru. So there are still music festivals going on every year, right? And then one of the thing is like there is a Thrissur Vaikuntha Ekadashi Sangeethotsam in Thrissur, which is every year, happens in December. And those are the real experiences what I've got as a interest to grow interest in Mridangam and grow interest in Carnatic music. So basically we used to arrange those kind of music festivals. So it's like kids of every age get to participate in those music festivals. They sing. It's much like our Tyagaraja Rathana we used to have it here,
Right.
right? In the
Right.
January after the main
Right.
concert,
Right.
we
Right.
used to have every kid like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
15 minutes. It's exact same, but it spans across 10 days. That's the difference, right?
Oh,
And
Oh
then
wow.
wow.
so we used to arrange those kind of music festivals. So that gives a completely different experience. Thing about tuning the shruti for different kids,
Yeah.
right? Arranging all the mridangams for them. And then
Mm.
what used to happen is it's like a morning time, like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. is for the kids, and 5 p.m. onwards is big, like concerts, right? That's how the structure was. 10 days, right? So you get to play with a lot of people, a lot of kids, and then you will have 1 hour slot of main concerts in the evening. So as we grow as a student, right, you get to play with the senior artists in that area, whether it is the all India radio artists. And then so that's a tremendous experience. And then the experience of playing with very young kid to a senior artist, we used to get it continuously. We used to get it every year, year after year, right? So that's kind of a learning. It's not like a classroom learning where you will learn a lot of korves or cholle or stuff like that, talams or like that. You've been put onto the stage, right? You fight in the war in the place directly, right? So that's how the learning was. And that's a completely different experience I had over the years. So we used to play a lot of this one, and then that gives us, as a group of kids, right, listen to people, understand how they are playing, comment about it, analyze them, right, and then learn them. That's a different experience, right? Because you are getting that experience straight from your guru, right? So
Right.
those are my real learning experiences in my childhood. And unfortunately, right, but during our studies and everything, I had to move out of that place during my masters. And then I moved from that Thrissur, and then moved into different city where I started my studies, and then job after that in Bangalore. So that's where I had kind of a stop in my musical career. And when I started into this one, so till then, I think I've got all the experience that we can ask for from a guru.
Right.
So
They are really nice
That's
experiences.
the Yeah, that's very interesting because I can relate a lot because Sir always tells us stories about his Gurukula Vasam, his Gurukula Vasam and his learning with gurus. So
right.
yeah, that's very understandable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned when you were talking about your first guru that you did your Arangetram after 4 to 3 years. Can you tell us about how the Arangetram went, where the Arangetram was, and
Yeah,
some some tidbits about the Arangetram?
definitely. I think it's completely different than the Arangetrams what you see nowadays. It's like So for it was again, what, maybe 30 years ago, or okay, 25 years ago, 28
Mm-hmm.
years ago, maybe. I don't know exactly the year where I did it, but as I said, since along with me learning Mridanga, my brother was actively learning music. So our Arangetram was, my father was very insistent on that, doing that Arangetram as like
Mm-hmm.
both of them together, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my Arangetram was playing for my brother. And that's just a temple outside of my house. There is a
Yeah.
yearly festival happens in temples, right? So Ulsavam, right? So it's just one of the programs of that temple, Ulsavam, right?
Yeah.
So the thing which I really remember, as I said, it was very early part of my learning. Maybe I was 11, 12. I think, I don't know exactly. I think the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I remember is the gurus of my brother, the vocal gurus of my brother, who came and stayed there in my
Mm-hmm.
house. And my guru, EP Narayana Prasad sir, he came and stayed with in my house. And then we had some 4 or 5 days of practice, I think, for
Mm-hmm.
that matter, like saying about what he should sing. But it's more towards about the vocal, right? How to
Right.
structure the vocal concert. It was.
Right. Right.
And then my part was just my
Just
guru was concentrating on how to play the Tanyavartam. That's it, right?
right.
So the thing which is really strike me about, I remember about that, is because I've heard all these songs my brother is going to sing. I
Mm-hmm.
knew everything about the song, right?
Right.
Because I know him
Every aspect of
practice.
the song.
I've
Right.
heard
Right.
him practice every day, right?
Right. Right.
So my first following was actually playing exactly what the swarams are of the vocal of the concert in Mridangam.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not, I don't know whether I was following really the way it should be followed, right? So I remember my guru saying, Mridangam following is not playing the swarasthanams of the song. It's like if there's
Right.
somebody says ga ga re sa sa re re ga ga re re. So I used to play dim 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 na na dim dim na na dim, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
exactly the same transformation of the swaram. And then that's the first thing I think I've learned of following him, this one. That's the thing I really remember about my Arangetam. And
Right.
then I don't know how did it went. I don't remember. I don't have any recordings of that. At those time, we never used to
Right.
record or
Right.
anything.
Right.
So I don't have a way to, assess myself or go back to that
Yeah.
Arangetam, see how it is. But I remember the first few learnings of how to follow as a percussion to a music. You are following a percussion as a talam, not as a music.
Yeah.
Right, but there is another part of it, like also, like, you need to know about the music. You have
Mm-hmm.
certain stuff where you need to put pressure on, put the patterns on. But basically, you are a tempo person rather than a vocal person. That is the first
Right.
few lessons I think I remember about my Arangetam. So, not much to say what was the Taniyavarthanam. It should be
Yeah, of
obvious,
course.
Bhattadhiripad, I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Remember much, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it is. It was.
Cypress, if you
Yeah,
want to take this next one.
sure. Yeah. So really amazing to hear that, especially playing for your brother for your Rangetam. That's a really, really special experience that you must have had. It's really cool because I mean nowadays you don't see so many people playing for their brothers or playing for anyone that they like
Yeah.
for an
I think
Rangetam.
nowadays
So
trend has changed a little bit, right? People want
Right.
to play for a, for a very senior
Yeah, for a
artist.
very senior
It gives
artist.
a completely different experience. I understand there is a different experience for it, but when I started learning, that was very much importance given to so-called arangetam. It's not, even though the name is there, it's in the musical world. It was not that much of an important milestone.
Right.
So.